Hi there, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jake, and I'm pleased to be your host for today's Get to Know Creative Industries session as part of Ryerson's virtual open house, which is taking place from November 9th to 13th and 16th to 20th. There are many sessions taking place across these 2 weeks, so we encourage you to visit our website and register for any other sessions that might interest you. To start, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the land on which Ryerson stands. Toronto is in the dish with one spoon territory. The dish with one spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. This is a land acknowledgement that we read at the beginning of on-campus events and meetings at Ryerson, and even though we're not currently on campus, we still feel it important to acknowledge the land on which Ryerson stands as part of our commitment to reconciliation and decolonization. Now, Ryerson has shifted to an essential services model to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've put together a series of virtual sessions in order to share information and connect with you. Ryerson is working diligently to provide students with fulsome experiences while maintaining the health and safety of our community. So a few Zoom housekeeping tips before we get started. We encourage you to ask questions. We have many faculty and staff members here to answer your questions. To do so, use the Q&A pod at the bottom of your Zoom window. Click the Q&A pod to open the dialog window and type your questions throughout the presentation. If you're having any audio or video issues, feel free to flag it in the Q&A pod and one of our staff members will assist you. You may rearrange the screen in any way that works best for you. And note that rearranging your screen does not impact the way that others are viewing this presentation. The presentation will be presented with closed captioning to ensure accessibility. So if you require closed captioning, please select that option at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Also note that recordings of all virtual open house events will be available on our website later on. So we'd like to know who's joining us today. So please take a moment to answer this poll, which I'm launching right now. And while we're filling that out, I'll actually just wait for a few responses to come in. Oh, wow, great. So most of us looking at applying for fall 2021. That's amazing. A few parents and guardians and some folks looking for applications in the future. That's amazing. Thanks so much for these responses, everyone. So I'm going to close the poll. Thanks very much. And now I'd like to introduce Christopher Gibbs from Creative Industries to start the presentation. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Jake. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Gibbs. I am fortunate enough to be the chair of the School of Creative Industries. And it's a very dynamic school, and it's one of a kind in Canada. So over the next 20 minutes, I will walk you through what the program's about, what 4 years look like, and some of the unique features of our program to help you sort of make decisions and think about where you want to be in the future. So here's our agenda. It's going to be about 20 minutes and mostly about the background of the program. So first off, the Creative Industries is a unique program designed to service the creative sector. Now, the creative sector is made up of a collection of industries that really are there to exploit knowledge and information as a form of business exchange. So they're common in such sectors you'll know as things like music or television or film or fashion, publishing, gaming, arts, live entertainment. Those are sort of a collection of the industries that make up the creative sector.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
I think you need to close the poll because there's a black box.
There we go.
Thank you.
No more poll. Good, no problem. Thanks. And so our program is the first of its kind in Canada. It's designed to give students the skills to be successful in a creative workplace. So students will understand creativity as both a creative process and a commercial activity. And we blend sort of three things throughout your time with us at Ryerson. We blend creativity plus business plus culture. And our program's very interdisciplinary. It allows you to take courses across a spectrum of the university and to help develop your workforce skills around empathy, critical thinking, and things like diverse perspectives. What's very unique about our program, and you're not going to find many like it in the country, is it's extremely interdisciplinary. So what that means is it provides you the ability for you to choose your own journey. So more than 60% of the courses that you take, you choose. So we only have a small selection of only about 40% of your courses we mandate you to take. Whereas in most university programs, you're anywhere between 50 to 70% of the courses are dictated to you what are required. So it really allows you to make your own journey. And it's not just liberal arts and elective course that you get to pick. You get to pick also your creative module. And I'll talk about the creative module a little bit later to give you some more ideas of what that's about. So what does your 4 years look like? What I'm going to do is walk you through each of the 4 years and the curriculum to give you an idea of what your courses would look like in the program. So the first thing here is our first year. So in the introduction, in your first year, 6 of your 10 courses are required. They're preset, and they're meant to get you to know the different industries and understand the business of creativity. So it's a mix of business courses, a mix of communication courses, and creative sector courses. One of my highlights in this whole program is, and this is the idea of the interdisciplinary of our program. One of the highlights for me is PLX 111, and that's actually a course taught by Urban Studies, and it's about the city. And when you start thinking about creative sector, it's really about urbanization. And so you get to take courses like that, which is kind of, I think, a testament to how unique our program is that you'll take courses from the business school, courses from FCAD and the School of Creative Industries, plus FCAD and wide, plus you get to take a course from urban planning. The second year is, I call this personal exploration year. And why I call it your personal exploration year is only 2 of your 10 courses are required. So what that means is you'll get to start to take 4 of your 10 courses are in your creative modules. And I'll talk about creative modules in a second. And that's one of the highlights of our program that our students love is their creative module courses. And the highlights from creative industries in this semester is CRI 300. This is a required course you take, and this introduces you to the Adobe suite. Now, I look at Adobe for the creative sector similar to how I look at Excel for the business sector. If you're a business student, you have to come out of university knowing Excel intimately. If you're a creative industry student and you want to work in the creative sector, you need to know how to use Adobe. So we introduce you to Adobe. You get a license of, as an FCAD student at Ryerson, you get a full license of it to be able to produce and create your own content. And we encourage you to do that. The other highlight of it is we have a course called CRI 400, which is you learn entrepreneurial skills. And the reason why I like that course is important is because if you want to work in this sector, a lot of it is gig and project related work. So that's another highlight from the second year. Third year, I call this the foundational skills year. And part of it is survival. Instead of taking 5 courses, you'll notice that you take 6. You also finish off your modules. So you finish taking all your module courses in this year for the most part. And it's really a mix of communications plus business. And so you get a good grounding in sort of the numbers and finance in ACC 340. That's something that's unique in a program like ours, is that we do have a business curriculum. 6 of your 42 courses are business related and taught by the Ted Rogers School of Management. So that's kind of what's unique there. And then the final year I like to call the organizational year. And this is the year where we bring it all together, where we end with 2 of our capstone courses, CRI 800 and CRI 810, where you work in smaller groups in small classes with only 30, 40 students. And you still get to finish off your electives and you finish up other things. So a really, really sort of good finish to your 4 years and get you ready really ready for the workforce. I talked about this thing called creative content modules. What's unique about our program is we kind of sit inside, creative industry sits inside of FCAD. And within FCAD, students can take creative content modules, and they can take them from any one of our 8 other schools within FCAD. So whether it's if you're interested in interior design, you're interested in journalism, you're interested in fashion, you're interested in graphic communications management, communications, radio and television arts, whatever it is, our leading schools in FCAD, our creative industry students get a smattering of it. Essentially what a module looks like is you take 6 courses in a module. Overall, you get to take 2 module courses or 2 modules. So that's, and each module is 6 courses. So you can see that the variety of different places that you can take your modules in. And this is where you get to sort of create your own degree. So as an example, if you are interested in, you want to work as a person that works with film and TV, you can take a film and you can take the art and business of film, but also because you want to be in film and TV, maybe you want to take storytelling and media. Storytelling is the foundation of all things. You may want to go in and design packaging. If you want to design packaging, you go to the School of Graphic Communication. But then you can also, from that, you can maybe say, well, packaging is really, really interesting. I want to be able to tell stories within it. Essentially, a program in journalism and practice of news. So it's very unique and specialized, and you get access to some of our leading programs at Ryerson's School of. We also have international internships and exchange options. Or not internships, we have international exchange options. Our programs, we have a number of different experiences available for you that range from sort of individual courses you can take in a collaborative environment online with students from another country. Or you can go away for an entire semester and do an exchange. Or you can just do a summer intensive course in a country special topic. So we've got a lot of different international opportunities. One of the highlights for me of our program and what I like most about it is we have an internship and a real focus on your career. So why I like that is a lot of 4-year degrees that are sort of in arts and business and culture typically don't have that. And I think it's important that you start to get exposed to employment opportunities and what work looks like while you're at school so that you're more prepared for finding a job after. So give you an idea of some of the types of places that our students go. They go to all sorts of different industries across a spectrum of places that you're probably familiar with. And it's from across the globe. So we have internships that are most of them are in Canada. But if you want to do an internship in the city or you're from Hong Kong and you want to do one in Hong Kong, our students are well prepared for their internship. We have a series of different lectures and workshops that start in first and second year and go all the way up. Ready for their, and it is you're well prepared. So how does it look? Internships, it happens in you go through first 3 years of your curriculum. Internship happens between your 3rd and your 4th year. And our goal is to provide you firsthand practical experience. We want you to understand the management practices employed to support creative work. And you work in small to medium-sized and large companies, ranging from fashion and advertising to. And then you go to your 4th year, you apply some of the things that you've learned from the internship. And then you become an alumnus eventually as well. But this is an idea of how we prepare you for your 4 years, and you'll see the series of workshops that go on all the way. So it's not just all of a sudden summer of 3rd and 4th. No, you are doing things in 200. You're doing things in year 2, and you're doing things in year 3 to make sure that you're ready. That's what makes it, I think, really, really valuable. Is the skills. Our employment opportunities span lots of different places, lots of different industries. Here's a summary of some of the different sort of areas that people will start to work in and internships.
Chris?
Yes.
You're cutting in and out a little bit, I think, when you move away from your microphone.
Let me put my mic closer then. Is that better?
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So I want to share with you some of our alumni, because our alumni are what make us really unique. One of the interesting things about our program is we attract an extremely bright students, have natural curiosity, achievement oriented, and they have creative passions. The creative passions range. So it's kind of like a melting pot of people that love creativity but are really smart, and they make for really unique. And over the course of 4 years, what we try to do is help you channel your creativity, help you find a path forward. And it's eventually they become alumni, and we have a very active, for such a young program, a very active alumni association that wants. So here's an example of some of our students and our graduates and kind of the roles that they end up in and where they go. So this is Alexandra Tushingham. Alexandra graduated in 2009. She did her internship at Media One Creative. Wouldn't mean much to many of you, but if you were to Google Media One Creative, they do incredible work that is for Fortune 500 companies and entertainment brands. And they basically, at the foundation of their company is storytelling, and they create stories in all sorts of different mediums. But she was a junior project coordinator there for her internship. She did another internship. She loved doing it so much. Paradigm Talent Agency, which is a music agency that represents bands. And she eventually became an account coordinator at Strategic Objectives. She works on all kinds of campaigns. So that is Alex. This is Michaela. Michaela Stephanie is graduated in 2018. She's an intern. She did an internship with Mirabel Public Relations. So she worked in the public relations business. But she also did lots of interesting stuff while she was at school. And this is what I love about her students, is they're doing different things. She worked as a music journalist. She also worked at the regular things you do to make money while you go to school, like Odeon. But upon graduation, she went to Entertainment One. Now, Entertainment One, again, won't be much to any of you, but see, they're an incredible company that develops, produces, markets, distributes, and they do it around the world. Now, today, she's working for Force Entertainment. Children's television or radio course is one. She's working as a brand associate, and a brand associate is somebody that supports and plans the execution of brand marketing initiatives throughout.
Chris?
And, yes.
Sorry, you're cutting in and out again. I don't know if it's the mic or what.
Yeah.
But you're...
I'll put it right to my face. How's that sound?
All right, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. And meet Daphne Chan. Daphne Chan graduated in 2018. She got an internship with Bruce Mao Design in 2017. Bruce Mao is a strategic design studio. So when people like Nike and people like Disney and others want to recreate their retail experience or recreate the park, they want to do anything like that, they specialize in creating brand experiences, and they're essentially an interior design firm that has all sorts of. So she works in her role. She did her internship, and they loved her so much they kept her. They hired her full time as soon as she graduated. And she's not a designer by any means, but her role is she's a design strategist. So when they take on a new project, she does a lot of the research around the design. And she works with the client relationship and project management team to move a project forward. So that the designers and the creative types can focus on being creative and producing what the client needs, and that she makes sure that it meets. So here's kind of some of the different industries I spoke to you about earlier: music, television, film, fashion, publishing, all those types of things on the left. And on the right-hand side, what you see are some of the different types of skills or roles that you would do. Things range from marketing, publishing, and distribution, and everything in between. And then in the background of all that, those little words in between, the marketing coordinator, production coordinator, communications assistant, campaign management, are just some typical titles that our interns or graduates do when they graduate or during their role. So it really does span lots of different things. I would say that one of the things that we really do develop well is we create people to work well in the creative service professionals. So where they will work in an organization and do lots of different types of projects related to creative. And they help get creative work out to the marketplace, whether that's getting it ready to be produced for television or get a song ready to be distributed through a platform. but they do. I guess now I would like to be any questions you have at this time. I know you've been answering questions in chat, but if very specific questions they want to jump on and ask, feel.
Hey there, so I can sort of help curate some of the questions. So one is, are any of the modules similar to industrial design?
No. The closest you would get to that, I'll go back to the module slide. The closest you would get to that would be, let me get back to it. There we go. There's the module. The closest you would get is School of Graphic Communications Management. There is a lot of courses that relate to packaging, and think of packaging, think of industrial design. So that would be the closest. And then the other one would be, you would get a little bit of design stuff, would be School of Interior Design, because you just talk about, it's not necessarily just interior design, you talk about design in general, but not hardcore industrial, no.
Amazing. One person says, I'd be interested in learning more about Creative Industries Lab Berlin. So what do students sort of learn and do in that program?
So that's an international exchange. And a lot of times when they go and they work in these hubs, they're working in projects and group teams to solve problems. So they're design related courses around using design thinking to solve complex problems. And they typically do it with a mix of students that are from Berlin or from other schools. They just happen to all be in Berlin, come from different universities, and they'll all be in Berlin studying at a local.
I have a Kennedy in the chat asking, can you explain a bit more about what taking journalism in creative industries looks like? So maybe how does taking the module within creative industries sort of differ from actually being part of the journalism program?
So if you're in the School of Journalism, you've got probably 40 courses. Of that, probably 20 or more are required. And you come out with a very deep grounding in journalism. That's what we call your major, right? And that's, you know, that's what you want to do. If you know that you're not sure what you want to do, our school allows you to take 6 courses, they're called modules, but all 6 of those courses are with this. So what does that look like for you as a student? You get to interact with journalism students, you're in class with journalism students, you're in class with journalism professors, but you only take 6 courses as opposed to 20 courses in journalism. So I would say, I would use the word depth versus breadth. So you get a breadth and understanding, like a wide spectrum of courses in journalism, but you don't go really deep.
Amazing, makes sense. Thanks for that. I have another question sort of about the nature of the modules from Sabrina. Say, could you major in creative industries and minor in fashion, or would it make more sense to just module in fashion and minor in something else? So sort of, yeah, what would it look like between taking a module and taking a minor?
So, so creative industries is kind of like your major, right? And your module, just to sort of visually tell you, that's your major, creative industries. You kind of take 2 minors, right? And the 2 minors are of your choice. So you can, a very common minor, example, fashion, right? It's blended a lot with, actually it's blended with a lot of different things. Fashion is blended a lot with, fashion is storytelling. So fashion is actually one that blends a lot. Fashion and journalism come well together. They work a lot together. So if it's kind of like taking a major with 2 minors at university is kind of what it is. That explains.
Amazing, thank you. I have a question from Sam about the new professional music program. So Is the new professional music program something that came out of this creative industries program? If a student isn't yet 100% sure that the music industry is the way to go, would there be an option to transfer at some point?
So when you're at Ryerson, there's always the option to transfer, right? So you can transfer. We have students transfer in from business, from urban planning, from lots of different places, transfer into into creative industries. What does it mean? It typically means you have to, some courses will transfer, but very few. So you have to sort of manage that. The music program essentially was the original idea is from an RTA professor that it was a music. And where we started to notice is our music module, one of our most popular modules. Right? We will have at any given time probably 200 students taking that module at different stages of. So extremely popular. So we said, wow, there's a market for this. And so we created with the School of Performance, School of Radio, Television Arts, School of Creative Industries, we created a program. And the music program is really for those that probably also perform music already, or you have some sort of collection of stuff related to music in order to apply. That's going to be one of the requirements. It's not, the requirement of the music program isn't all about your academics, right, as much. They're looking at whether you've got a full package related. They don't teach you music in the music program, but they teach you, so you don't actually have to perform an instrument like other music programs at university. They're about mastering musical performance. They really are about the music programs, about getting you prepared for a career. You're not sure you want the music industry, you're undecided, then creative industries is probably your. Take the music module, right? 6 courses. You can get on the Ryerson campus and you can start to be part of our zones. Then you can start to work with entrepreneurs in the space. And on top of the music module, you're going to take business courses that help you understand sort of traditional business. And then you can take one other module of your choice. So feel free to take it wherever you want to go. So if you want to combine music with communication studies, public relations together, those go really well together, right? Because there's a whole field of business around public relations and music. Or you can combine music with business of practice of news, so journalism and music together. Combine that. So I don't think it really works to combine music with graphic communications and publishing, because we don't design CD covers anymore. Packaging is really done. Never know. Anything can happen.
Amazing. Thank you for that. We have someone asking, how can I make my application stand out while applying? So we know that there's and I believe it's the same person maybe with a follow-up. You know, there's this optional statement as part of the application. So would the optional statement boost my chance of getting accepted?
Absolutely. So first off, do really well in your top 6 courses if you're an Ontario student, right? Come in with as high an average you possibly can. That's how you, that's the absolute best way to boost your chances. The second way is we always reserve a number of spots for students on the and for students that are on the bubble, we read their optional statements. So without a question, I would write an optional statement. And in your optional statement, just tell your story. The statements are read, in other words, know anything about you. It's read by a committee of 3 different people. And every person reading them is reading them. They have different sort of biases and thoughts, but ultimately I think what we're trying to do is improve diversity in the program when we read them. We want to know students do more than just go to school. We want to know what you do extracurricularly and what makes you special. That's what that's what I would tell in that story.
Great, thank you. Lisa is asking, what do the film courses look like? Are they hands-on? So are the students actually making movies as part of their School of Image Arts modules?
No, they do not. So one of the things about a lot of our content modules is you don't, with the exception of School of Graphic Communications Management, I would say, and most of the module courses are about really, again, it's about breadth, getting you exposed to that discipline and that, and you don't necessarily go and take the creator maker courses. In order to be a creator maker, you need to be in that school's program. You need to take foundational courses in how to use a camera, and those types of things in order to get. So our students get exposed to it. They study with students that do that. Maybe in projects within those module courses that allow a little bit of taste of that, but there isn't a lot of, here's the lab, here's hands-on, you're in a studio, that's all you're doing.
So I have a question from Jose that was answered in the chat, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it. Is this a good program for someone that would like to work in the creative and perhaps business side of marketing and digital marketing, either for an agency or a fashion or sports company?
Absolutely,
maybe
Jose.
sort of any examples of students who have done things.
Absolutely, Jose. I would say that our biggest sort of area where our students go into is the creative services sector. So what is the creative services sector? I don't know. I'm in grade 12. What does that look like? That's things like advertising agency.
Chris?
Firms. Yep.
You're cutting in and out again. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know. I think your microphone is.
Is crap.
I wasn't going to say that.
I'll maybe need to get a new microphone then. Let me just plug that in a little better. Okay. So Jose, it goes into lots of our students end up going in those sectors because they're interdisciplinary in those businesses, and our students they typically go in not. And what people don't understand is in those types of creative services businesses, in the process of getting something creative done, yes, there is somebody doing the desktop publishing and making the graphic. Somebody that's for every person that's doing that, there's one or two people working with the client and doing the research and making sure the project moves along in the different stages that it goes through in its production. So I would think that we're an excellent program for people that want to go into that. And surely because it really is all those titles I showed you earlier, that's literally just a copy and paste of the titles that our students.
We have another question from Kennedy. Is it recommended to already have experience with Adobe programs when applying to creative industries, or is it okay if we don't?
Kennedy, it's not. I think if you have it, that's awesome. You're going to have a leg up in creating, but it is not a requirement. We give you a foundational course in it, and you can build your skills. And what's also great is you knew as a year, you get access to the Adobe suite while you're at Ryerson as an F. At the tools to be a creator, so you can make movies if you want.
Okay, just kind of scrolling through the questions here. I have one from Kieran. Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Kieran. What would be the best way to get into marketing or promo in the music and entertainment industry? So maybe to tag on to that, we know that university and FCAD specifically can be a pathway into that industry, but sort of what do those pathways look like? How do you see students breaking into the industry? We know how to go from high school to university. So what's that next step look like for students?
How do you go from university to employment? So you go from university to employment. I think there's three things students can do. First off, while you're at school, become engaged. What does that mean? Do different things. Join clubs, open group, produce content, work in one of the entrepreneur zones, do something different, right? And by doing that, you're going to get connected to different people. You're going to gain a series of those experiences are only going to inform more as you go on, and opportunities are connected. So if a lot of you're working with outside of the classroom want to do different things, probably in my mind. Second one is I would do an internship. Try to do an internship in one of the music agency or music. Okay. And the third thing I would say is take the music module, right? So you start to take some courses that give you background and understanding in it. But all of this is, I think, still grounded in you need to, and there's so many ways that you connect. It's crazy. start to volunteer. Some of our best music agents that we've had come into my classes, I teach management, I teach entertainment. Some of the best speakers, what did they do? Well, I sold t-shirts. What do you mean you sold t-shirts? Worked with local bands and I sold t-shirts. Okay, great. Right? You sold merch, and that's how they got their way in. So that's my advice on how to get sort of your school to a career. And a lot of it is grounded in doing stuff outside of the classroom, right? Whatever you can, connects you with industry or develops your skills or builds your network.
Amazing, thanks. I'm just going to suggest if Chris, if you go to the arrow next to the microphone, you might have an option to switch to the microphone that's within your headset. I think that
I don't have a microphone in my headset.
Oh no, okay, no worries then.
No.
Okay, we have a question from Kayla. I want to go into film and television, but I'm not sure which aspect. Would you recommend this program or media production first?
So I guess the difference is depth versus breadth, right? If you know that that's where you want to go, then go right into it, right? Go put everything into that one thing. If you're not sure that that's what you want to do, then a program like ours can give you exposure to different things. So you take the art and business of film and maybe right in the two, and you'll get exposed to it. You'll also get exposed to a lot of creativity curriculum, and that's so. If you really know that you really that's what you want to be in, then go for that, right? Similar to music program. That's all you want to do is music, then go for it.
Wonderful. I have a similar question from Sam. If the ultimate career goal is working in film combined with music scoring and production, which program is better, creative industries or professional music?
You've also got radio and television arts in there. I think they're both good, right? I think apply to both and try to get into both and do more research to figure out what you want, right?
Absolutely. It's probably a good time to make a note that you can apply to 3 programs at Ryerson. So if you're kind of interested in multiple programs, definitely put an application in for more than one, because then you kind of double or triple your chances of getting in, right? So always better to sort of shoot your shot as many times as you can. Sam's follow-up is, what platform is mainly used for music production? Logic, perhaps?
Sam, that is an awesome question. You've stumped me. I don't teach or do the music. I apologize about that. We can find that out for you and get back.
It's all good. I was going to ask maybe, so we know that FCAD is sort of tied into the zones pretty well with things like the digital media zone.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that, what those opportunities look like for students who sort of want to strike out in the entrepreneurial route, and sort of what you see your students doing within there?
Yeah, zones are a great opportunity, and Ryerson itself is kind of the pioneer in zone education around Canada. And so the zones give you a chance to go work with a startup company or go attend events or be a part of what they're doing in their zone. And it allows you to sort of develop a community and get to know people that aren't just in your program or aren't just professors, but people that are maybe from the outside that are working in the zone, or outside because they've got a startup that's working from the zone. So it gets you to really exposed to the entrepreneurial culture and what I would call project-based culture. So zones are always working on projects. It gives you a chance to sort of do that. So that experience I was talking about doing stuff outside of the classroom, that is what the zone's about. That will really, really develop your skill set in that area and expose you to some really, really interesting people.
It looks like we got a question right at the start, inspired by the start of that question. So overall, would you say this is a good program for people looking to be an entrepreneur?
If you look at, I think any program is good for somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, just start doing it, right? So any program that allows you to start doing is good. If you look at most really, really successful entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, they'll take very few courses related to entrepreneurs. They start doing, they fail and they do, learn and then they do again. So I think we've got some entrepreneurship courses and some entrepreneurship path, but it's not like a major in entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship thinking. We teach more entrepreneurial thinking. So what do you have to think about to be an entrepreneur? Because we know that in the creative sector, you have to be thinking like embrace failure, right? In order to succeed. So we're thinking more like that. People that want to actually do, just start doing, right? Just join the summer company, a program by the Ontario government, work in zones. You can create your own entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. I'd be interested to hear about, what some of the faculty are working on. Universities, as we know, aren't just educational institutions, they're also research institutions. So
Yep.
Can you sort of share any of the exciting updates that the faculty in the School of Creative Industries are, the latest and greatest from?
So we've got people like Miranda Campbell, who's youth cultural engagement. So working with youth organizations and about helping youth entrepreneurs and things like that. We have David Gauntlet, who's the Canada Research Chair in Creativity, and he really comes from England. One of his things he was famous for was using Lego to demonstrate creativity, how you can more creative workshops with people. And we got Louis Etienne Dubois, who does a lot of stuff in the gaming space with major gaming platforms, and he does a lot of work with people and their sort of management side, doing different workshops for them, doing special projects for, like, because we research into future of life. Well, those are just a smattering some of our professors, but what's also great about our students in our program, because it's interdisciplinary, they get exposed to their modules that are their field. So they get exposed to a lot of different.
Amazing. I did see we received a question earlier, and I know it received an answer in the chat, but I hadn't seen what the answer was. For students looking to get into the gaming industry, what does the creative industries sort of allow pathways into there, and what do the prospects look like for them?
So we typically have a couple of students a year get into Ubisoft. They aren't the programmers. Okay, so we don't train people to be programmers. So that's not where they get in. They get in through the creative services role side. So they what people don't understand that maybe aren't exposed to gaming a lot. Gaming is really put together a game is the same as producing a movie plus, right? And as it goes through its different stages of development, right, there's people that are there coordinating, managing it, and project managing. So a lot of our students get in Ubisoft because, gaming, people like Ubisoft hire it's all about a game. First off, gaming is about a story, right? Let's declare it like a movie. It's like a story. The other thing around gaming is the research that goes to that stuff. Recently published 2 different papers with Louis related to gaming and tourism.
Oh, sorry, we missed this last part here.
Oh, we recently produced some research about gaming and tourism, how video games invite people to go. And when people are when they're building those games, they go on the research phase. It's extremely extensive. Build a realistic game based in a city. So That's the type of work that our students can, is sort of helping lead the project or leading the game final production. We don't have enough technical courses to help you come out of school and be a producer. The reality is, and and you talk to people that are in the gaming industry, there's a growing body of programs that produce people that want to work in the industry. Reality is, the question you're going to get in an interview if you want to be a programmer is less about what your degree was and what you did, more about what you're working on. So what are the things you're doing? What are your projects? And if your projects are, well, I play this one game with my friends. It's nice. No, it needs to be, I'm building this game. Here's what it looks like, and here's what we're doing. Those are the people that will get employed as creative developers. We have a number of gaming courses, but again, we're not the depth, we're the breadth. We prepare people for, I guess you could say, creative service or project management type roles.
That's great. Thank you for that. We have a question from Nick. So going back to the sort of supplemental part of the application, that optional statement.
Yeah,
Nick is wondering, what would make an applicant's optional statement stand out, in your opinion?
No grammar. No. Nick, for me, it's just what your story is, right? Who you are. What are the things that you're doing beyond the classroom that make you unique? They'll make you a valuable member of the Ryerson community. That's it. And that can range from anything. Could be that you organize a community garden. Could be that you're active in your student council. You're an athlete. Also do this other thing. It's just something that helps us get to know you a little bit better and shows that you have a passion for something, right?
That's great. Thanks very much for that. I'm just sort of scanning to see if any more questions are coming in. They're sort of starting to trickle out a little bit. Here's a question: is taking a minor required? So, I guess with the modules and things as well. Are the modules required and are minors required? I guess two separate questions there, just to clear things up.
Yep, taking 2 modules is absolutely required. Taking a minor is completely optional. Minors are quite popular and discussed a lot. But reality is maybe only 10, right? Because what that means is, for your elective courses and your liberal arts courses, which you typically have 6, all 6 of them are related to them, which some students don't want to do. They want to get exposed to different things. And I would recommend, if you want to work in the creative sector, do get exposed to different things. What people don't understand about somebody like Steve Jobs, if you remember him, the founder of Apple, is, he dropped out of school after first year, and all he did was walk around from class to class and just sit and listen to lectures. And one of the lectures he walked in on was a calligraphy lecture. And why should a guy starting a computer company know about calligraphy? Well, that's where he got the idea around the Helvetica is the font that kind of launched Apple. So it's important that you, as somebody that wants to work in a creative sector, get exposed to lots of different places. Where you get your creativity from or your ideas come from, they don't come from one channel or discipline. They come from aha moments that you get from experiences or things of knowledge into that current situation that you're challenged.
Amazing. Thank you. Kennedy's asking, what does this program look like over the past year in a COVID world? So sort of how has distance learning shaped the delivery of this program?
It's been really interesting watching. Great question. It's been interesting watching our faculty, right? So first off, we're relatively young faculty. So we've been around 7 years. So we don't have a lot of people that have sort of are at the tail end of their career. So they've really embraced it, and it's different for everybody. So as an example, myself, I do lectures in Zoom, but I use Mentimeter and I use Google slides a lot that allow students to collaborate and work in small groups. So when you come to one of my classes, it's about, I call it the run of show. So what run of show means is My class is 2 hours. Front of show is every 10 or 15 minutes, we've got a different thing going. And we start out with a review of instruments, and we go to review of last week's thing that's maybe 10 minutes. And we have a short little 10-minute sort of lecture about that week. Then we go into small breakout groups, collaborate and work on something together. Then we come back. So that would be, as an example, my class. I have other classes where professors. Our research course is not about lectures. She's pre-recorded all of them. She's put them up for the students to watch. She's put up quizzes online and that, and she uses the time to have students meet with her. So instead of having a 3-hour lecture, the students are in their 5-person group, and they come and they meet with the professor and they work on their research project together. And so every professor's done something. I would say that we are not, I don't know, I can't imagine what you're going through in high school, what it's like, but it's not just sitting on Zoom the whole time, 3 hours for class. Tried to, every prof's done something, things up. Group activity.
Oh, sorry, we missed this last part as well.
Or you're in a Zoom group working on an activity, or you're doing something very. One of our professors does a really cool thing. David Gauntlet does a thing where you go through the class and he teaches creativity. So it's lots of fun stuff and workshopy type stuff. But then he does a 6-minute video after for students to review. It's just of the highlights, and it's a really fun style of mixes music, all sorts of different things. Really interesting. So.
Awesome. We've pretty much gone through all the questions. It's 9:52 at this point. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the people who are still attending before we sort of wrap things up?
I guess my advice for all people that are young is just don't sweat it. Okay? So my words of wisdom as being a parent and somebody that's changed my career 4 or 5 times is you're going to go to university. You're going to go look for a place that you feel like is a cultural fit for you, where you're going to meet interesting people. You're going to expose to different things. So that's your first thing, I think. The reality of it is most people end up working in industries that are not related to the job. So there's a ton of engineers out there that aren't engineers, lawyers that aren't lawyers, and accountants that aren't accountants. So what that means is you're going to need to be able to pivot. So I would look for a program or an experience that allows you to get a broad overview of what's and allows you to deal with what is really going to be an increasing life experience.
Oh, sorry, just run that last one back one time. Thank you.
It allows you to see a really digital workforce, or a very sort of adapt to the different job opportunities. Of finding one job, one employer, and going through like my life with the government. I have had probably my close to 30 plus years of work. I worked at 23 different organizations and had probably 30 different jobs. And you're going to need to be able to adapt and pivot and change a lot. So take something and do something that allows you to get exposed to a lot, and develops your skills so that you're viable and you can shift, pivot to a different.
Transferable skills is the name of the game there, right?
You've got it, Jake. That's what it is. So.
Yeah.
And one of the skills out there, and we're one of the few programs that's talking about it, is empathy. You need to have empathy. You need to be able to understand what it's like to be in the other person's shoes, right? And empathy is really, really important. If you're designing a product or a service, you need to see that product or service from the user's perspective, because you don't know the little things that they want out of that.
Amazing. Yeah, these have been such great answers and such insightful responses. So yeah, I really appreciate your time. So I think we're about to wrap up the session. So I want to say thanks so much again to Christopher Gibbs for an amazing session. We're now going to shut down our audio and video, meaning you won't be able to see or hear us, but we'll still be online until the end of the hour. So right until 10 o'clock to answer any questions that you may have. So feel free to submit those questions. Sorry, I realized I wasn't on camera. Hello, everyone. Feel free to submit those questions through the Q&A pod until the end of the hour. And I encourage you to make note of any answers to your questions that you got before the webinar ends, because those won't be part of the recording that's posted on our website in the coming weeks. So on behalf of our entire team and Ryerson University, thanks once again, everyone, for joining us today. And we hope to see you in other sessions this week. So take care of yourselves.
Thanks, Jake. See you later, guys. Good luck with your decision.